You can make reed fishing floats without any special materials. You will need some reed stems, of course. Reeds can be found everywhere from very cold places to the tropics. They grow along the shores of ponds and lakes and marshes and riverbanks, everywhere. I collected a few stems at the nearby salt marsh. I selected the most firm and thickest parts of the stems. I'm going to cut this stem to the desired length to make the body of the future float. The body of this one will be about 12 centimeters, approximately 5 inches, not considering the mast and keel. The stem then needs to be cleaned with sandpaper. To make the mast and keel, I will use bamboo skewers. I decided on the length and accounted for the part that will go inside the reed stem. And then cut a bamboo skewer to the length with a knife. Because the diameter of the bamboo sticks is smaller than the internal diameter of the reed stem, I will need to make some kind of gasket. I will do that by cutting a strip of tissue paper and wrapping it around the bamboo stick, covering each layer with glue. Any glue that bonds to wood will work. I'm using PVA glue, also known as wood glue or school glue. PVA is water soluble, but it's not going to be an issue because the float will be sealed with a waterproofing coating to prevent water from seeping inside the float. The process is simple. Put some glue on the strip and wrap it around the stick until the diameter of this paper gasket matches the diameter of the opening in the stem. The paper should be wound tightly around the bamboo stick. For this, I pull the paper strip away from the stick and it tightens the wrap. If you are not excited by this part of the project, you can use a glue gun as an alternative. It is much faster and works well. The only difficulty with that approach is to position the bamboo stick right in the middle of the stem. Final check once the gasket is firm to the touch. It's a perfect fit. After the gasket is dry, I put glue on top of it and secure the mast inside the reed stem. While the mast is drying, I'll do the same to make the keel. As before, add glue on the paper strip and wrap it around the stick. This time I decided to not wait until the gasket dries and force it into the stem. It worked, but it is better to let the gasket dry before inserting it into the reed stem. Otherwise, the paper will be squishy, which can make it more difficult to get the gasket inside. But it wasn't too bad in this case. And now, when the float is assembled, it needs to be prepared for painting. I use masking tape to protect the areas that don't need to be painted. I rub the tape around the stem to separate the top and the bottom and create two stripes which will be painted white. The tape will help with making all lines neat and straight. I will be using acrylic paints and dab them with sponges. The top of the float will be red. The bottom part will be black. I also decided to add some white accents for decoration. The sponge I'm using to paint the float is made from a piece of upholstery foam. This sponge does a better job than a brush in this case. It coats evenly and doesn't leave marks. I made several coats for each color. The surface looked uneven at first because of the trapped bubbles formed by the sponge. By the time the paint dried, all the bubbles escaped and the paint looks good. After the paint is dry to the touch, the masking tape can be removed. The instructions on the bottle recommend to air cure the paint for 7 days, but I couldn't wait that long. And here is the painted float. I will submerge the float into urethane to seal the surface. Several coats will be necessary to ensure that the coating is completely waterproof. There is a variety of coatings and every large hardware store has a coating that will work for this project. And here's the result, a beautiful shiny float. It is time to test it in the water. The project is a complete success. I didn't expect that the buoyancy of the float will be high, but the float is able to hold much more weight than I thought it would, and it is still very sensitive and easily detects the smallest of bites. Now make your own. Until the next time.